I want to dive right into our analysis about the tragedy that happened over the Potomac. We have a very special guest here to help us understand what exactly happened. It's Amber Smith, former helicopter pilot, author of Unfit to Fight, How Woke Policies Are Destroying the Military, and former senior Pentagon official to break down the breaking news. Amber, thank you for joining the program.
Thanks for having me.
Amber, there's some recent news here, at least some new video footage that shows if the helicopter was almost not pursuing, but accelerating into the airplane. What is the latest news here? And break it down for the audience of what your theory is, what happened that evening.
Sure. So I was an Army helicopter pilot for almost 8 years, well over 1,500 flight hours. And based off everything that I have seen in terms of the audio and the video, including the one you just mentioned that just came out, is that the Army helicopter aircrew most likely confirmed visual confirmation of the incorrect aircraft. So when Tower gave them the warning of traffic ahead, they were looking at the wrong plane, basically, and then likely never even saw the aircraft that they ended up flying into. And it's, an incredibly tragic and horrific situation. But in Army aviation, especially when it comes to helicopters, things are moving a million miles an hour. You have a lot going on in the helicopter. We are learning a lot about some mismanagement of the National Capital Region airspace around Reagan, some of the helicopter corridors and the altitudes involved there, and very minimal altitude separation requirements between these incoming landing planes to Reagan and the helicopter traffic around them. A big red flag that I have seen in all of this is how common it has happened that the tower at Reagan is allowing these helicopters to fly underneath or behind incoming commercial planes as they're coming into short final to land at the runways. That is extremely risky. It is sets up unsafe conditions, as we've seen, because altitude deviations in a helicopter can happen in the blink of an eye, a wind gust. And what they have in terms of that separation right now is completely unsafe.
So, yeah, I mean, it's a very basic question. Again, I'm just a civilian. Whose idea was it to have the Army do military exercises even remotely close to the airspace of Reagan? I mean, there's plenty of other places you could do Army training theoretically, right? I mean, it's a big country, a lot of rural areas, not near Reagan Airport. Who made this decision, and for what possible reason? And why did no one ever think in the months or the years leading up to this, hey, these near misses are probably a good reason to suspend these training exercises?
Yeah, so my assessment off of this is that it is the AO, the area of operation for this helicopter unit. So this helicopter unit's mission is to conduct operations down that corridor that I told you about, that flies basically down the Potomac River. And to my knowledge, it was a check ride. So this was not technically training, although I'm sure the training goes on there as well. This was a check ride. So an annual check ride where they're doing all sorts of procedures and maneuvers. And I'm assuming, this is me assuming, I do not know if it is like a requirement. I'm assuming that they have to be checked out in this location because it is their mission. But that's something that I want to see, because if that is a requirement of theirs, doing these types of operations, maybe being familiar with the route should be a requirement, but actually going out and doing something like APART, which is an annual flight evaluation, should not be in this proximity to one of the biggest metropolitan airspaces when it comes to the combination of helicopter and commercial aviation